think if you perform like that against me, I'll absolutely wipe the floor with you.
She said if you perform like that against her, she's going to wipe the floor with you.
Oh, beautiful. Guess what? You couldn't wipe my drawers. You hear me? You can't do with me. That's what I'm saying. See, I ain't no punk. I'm not scared of you. That's why I'm here. You didn't come to America. I came here. I came here. I came here. You didn't come to me. I came to you. We can go. Let's go.
Step into the knockout realm, where every punch tells a story.
Fast. Speed.
This time, we enter the ring with Claressa Shields, two-time Olympic gold medalist, the youngest American boxer ever to win gold, and the first fighter in the four-belt era to become undisputed champion in 2 weight classes.
I'm telling you, my mind, I could tell you the whole fight, round by round. I could tell you what I got hit with, probably what the second was on the belt. I was like, either way it goes, tonight is my night. I'm gonna make history. I gotta show the world why I'm the greatest woman of all time. Like I said,
Before the first bell, her story is already heavy. Back-to-back Olympic golds in 2012 and 2016, an amateur record of 77-1, and a professional run that's seen her unify titles across 5 different weight divisions. In the corner, she doesn't bounce or posture much. She looks like someone clocking in for work, focused, methodical, and unbothered by the noise. Her approach is direct, an active lead hand that she learned under coaches like Al Mitchell and Gloria Peak during her USA boxing years. Steady feet, that close distance without wasting steps, and a pace that doesn't need to rush to feel urgent.
I've knocked out people you went 10 rounds with.
no one you fought was elite.
You are?
No one you fought was elite. They were
But we
good.
boxed the same people?
Hannah Rankin was your best opponent. Who else was your best opponent? Name them.
I'm not saying that. We've boxed the same people. They didn't go the distance from me, but they
You
skipped out
fought
the ring
against
with you.
MK 3 years after I
They
fought
skipped,
against
they
her.
skipped out the ring with you. Yeah, and you haven't improved.
There's no mystery in what she aims to do. Control the center, set the terms with her jab, and make every round look like a clinic. For years, people wondered when the momentum would stall.
You declined 2012. That's why you never won nothing else after.
And aren't you glad I did?
No world
This is gold
championship.
rubbish. All this
No
gold
Olympic
crap
gold
would have been
medal.
over years ago.
One belt.
All this gold rubbish
is
would have been over
embarrassing.
in 2018.
I got 5 belts over there.
They argued about power, calling her T-Rex because of her shorter arm length, questioning if she had true knockout ability. They debated opposition, about whether the winds would still hold when the pressure rose. Experience, they said, would be the great equalizer, a seasoned champion with reach like Christina Hammer, or a puncher with history like Savannah Marshall, the only fighter to ever beat Shields, which was even back in 2012 at the Amateur World Championships.
And aren't you glad I did?
No world
This is gold
championship.
rubbish. All this
No
gold
Olympic
crap
gold
would have been
medal.
over years ago.
One belt.
All this gold rubbish
is
would have been over
embarrassing.
in 2018.
I got 5 belts over there. You got 1.
But conversations change once the first clean combination lands and the jab starts finding its home. Across multiple divisions, from middleweight to super middleweight to light heavyweight and even heavyweight, debates built their own narratives. In the ring, Shields built something simpler. Rounds won, belts unified, and opponents walking back to their corners with new questions about how she made it look so controlled. Some nights leave marks beyond the scorecards, the tempo, the accuracy, the mental pace that comes from fighting someone who's been trained since she was 11 and refined her craft under Olympic pressure twice. Those are the parts that stay with fighters long after the cameras move on. But before we get deeper into the fight, touch gloves with us. Like the video and share your thoughts ringside. Let us know where you had Shields ranked before these fights and where you have her now. Hannah Gabriel stepped in with a 20-2 record, championship experience at junior middleweight, and a belief that she could test the rising 2-time Olympic champion early in her pro journey. This was only Shields' 6th professional fight, yet world titles were already on the line, the vacant WBA and inaugural IBF middleweight belts.
We don't know until I feel her, right? But really and truly, I believe that when you learn to do other things, the power and all of that, it plays something, but not everything.
On paper, Gabriel's timing, physicality, and veteran craft seemed like the kind of challenge that could expose gaps in a fighter still transitioning from the amateurs. The opening moments went differently than many expected. A sharp right hand from Gabriel's in the first round sent Shields to the canvas, the first knockdown of her entire professional career. In those seconds, the script could have broken. A lesser fighter might have panicked. They might have fought emotionally. They might have abandoned the game plan. Instead, the rest of the night became a masterclass in composure and adjustment. Shields popped right back up, nodded at the referee, and immediately reset behind her jab, the same weapon that had won her 2 Olympic golds. She tightened her defense, started working in layers, body, head, back to the body, and began to methodically break down a veteran who just hurt her. As the rounds progressed, the initial shock gave way to a distinct pattern. Gabriel's still had moments, flashes of the power that scored the knockdown, but the space between them grew as Shields' volume and accuracy took over. Her pressure wasn't reckless. It was organized, small steps cutting off the ring, controlled entries behind the jab, and combinations that arrived in sequences rather than single swings. By the championship rounds, the knockdown felt less like a turning point and more like a test she had already answered with flying colors.
I won every round after the knockdown, and I showed who I am. I showed that now I'm really dangerous because they know they could knock me down.
The scorecards reflected control, adjustment, and a willingness to walk through early adversity to command the rest of the fight. All 3 judges scored it for Shields. At just 23 years old, in her 6th pro fight, she became a 2-division world champion, breaking the record previously held by Vasyl Lomachenko for fastest to win titles in 2 weight classes. Christina Hammer entered the ring on April 13, 2019 with the look and resume of a longtime champion, a 24-0 record, WBC and WBO middleweight titles, and a significant height and reach advantage at 5'11". Heading into this fight, many framed it as elegance and length against pressure and volume, a chess match between a tall European champion and the shorter, faster American Olympic star. The matchup felt like a question of whether Hammer's jab, footwork, and ring generalship could offset Shields' relentless intensity and faster hands over 12 rounds. Early on, Hammer tried to establish her distance and control the center. The jab came out long, her feet moved in circles, and she looked to keep exchanges at the range, where her physical advantages mattered most. But Shields read the rhythm quickly, just like she'd done against taller opponents throughout her amateur career, stepping in behind her own sharp lead hand and refusing to let the ring feel big. Each minute added its own details. Short counters that landed clean when Hammer committed to her jab, sudden shifts from head to body that disrupted her rhythm, and exchanges that ended with the taller champion backing toward the ropes. The fight didn't hinge on a single dramatic moment. It turned on accumulation, on how often Shields arrived first in the pocket and finished last in each trade. By the middle rounds, the pattern was impossible to ignore. Shields was thriving at close range, working the body with hooks and uppercuts, then stepping out of range with sharp pivots before Hammer could return fire. Hammer's movement was still there, but it had more retreat than reset, more reaction than initiative. CompuBox stats would later show Shields outlanding Hammer significantly in both total punches and power shots. In the championship rounds, the tone was set and the outcome felt inevitable. Shields pushed the pace even harder, sharpened her combinations, and made the final stretch look like confirmation rather than a question. When the scores were read, 98-92 twice and 98-91, the wide margins on the cards mirrored what the ring had already shown. A unified middleweight division, and a night where experience and physical advantages met a fighter in full command of her tools and her moment. Shields became the undisputed middleweight champion.
Middleweight champion of the world, Claressa Shields.
and cemented her place as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, male or female. To add another layer to her legacy, we moved to March 5th, 2021, and the night Shields faced Marie-Eve Dicaire for undisputed status at super welterweight in her hometown of Flint, Michigan. Dicaire arrived as the IBF champion with a 17-0 record, clean footwork, and a defensive style built on movement and angles. Many believed it could frustrate Shields and force her into a longer, more patient fight. The question wasn't just about winning, but about how clearly Claressa could separate herself at 154 pounds in front of a limited hometown crowd during the COVID-19 pandemic. The early rounds looked measured and tactical. Dicaire circled smoothly. She tried to keep exchanges light and at distance, and aimed to touch without being drawn into extended trades where Shields' volume would become a problem. Shields used the ring subtly, cutting off exits with small lateral steps, feinting entries to draw reactions, and gradually narrowing the available real estate. Inside, the work became routine but devastatingly effective. Short shots, especially hooks and uppercuts to the body and arms, started to slow the slick movement that Dicaire's style depended on. Where the Canadian wanted space and time to reset, Shields offered close-range pressure, making every clinch, every corner sequence, and every rope exchange matter. By the second half of the fight, the cumulative effect was showing clearly. Dicaire was still there, still defiant, still trying to box her way out of trouble, but the rounds were tilting decisively in one direction. The story wasn't written with a single knockout punch. It was inscribed round by round on scorecards that would reflect clarity and control more than drama. All three judges scored the fight 100-90, a shutout on every card. When the belts were placed together in her arms, WBC, WBO, IBF, and WBA, the image was historic and simple at once. Shields became the first boxer in the four-belt era to hold undisputed titles in 2 different weight classes, and the first female boxer ever to accomplish the feat. It was another division unified, another weight class where questions about if had turned into records of how. Across these nights, from recovering off the canvas against Hannah Gabriels in her 6th pro fight, to systematically outclassing the taller Christina Hammer, to dominating Marie-Eve Dicaire in her hometown, the pattern stays consistent. Different opponents brought different strengths: movement, reach, experience, one-punch power, and painful history. But fight after fight, Shields leaned on the same pillars that made her a 2-time Olympic gold medalist: discipline, superior timing, relentless work rate, and a willingness to let the ring tell the truth. In a sport where narratives often get written before the first punch is thrown, her resume insists on something simpler and more powerful. Ambition sets expectations, media creates storylines, but performances decide which stories last and which fighters are remembered. And with Claressa Shields, the first American boxer to win back-to-back Olympic golds, the fastest fighter to become a 2-division world champion, the only 3-division undisputed champion of the 4-belt era, the record isn't built on what fans hoped or doubted. It's built on what she delivered round after round under the brightest lights available against the best opposition willing to face her. The bell might have sounded on these nights, but the stories don't end here. Like, comment, and subscribe to return ringside for the next chapter in the knockout realm.